9 justices, 0 disagreements. Every single one of them said the same thing. And what they said just put every anti-gun state in America on notice. This is the ruling that the mainstream media buried, and it may be the single most important gun decision of the last decade. Quick question before we go any further. Are you subscribed to this channel yet? Because what I am about to show you is the kind of legal update that changes how the gun industry works, how your rights are protected, and why certain states are quietly panicking right now. This is not a small story. Hit subscribe and tap that notification bell right now. You do not want to miss the follow-up to this video. Okay, let us get into it. Here's what just happened. On June 5th, 2025, the United States Supreme Court handed down a decision in a case called Smith Wesson Brands versus Estados Unidos Mexicanos. That last part, Estados Unidos Mexicanos, is just the official legal name for the government of Mexico. So yes, you heard that right. The government of Mexico sued American gun manufacturers, and the Supreme Court just told them no. 9-0, not 5-4, not 6-3. Every single justice agreed, and the impact of that unanimous decision is still rippling through gun law across all 50 states right now. But before I tell you exactly what the ruling said and what it means for you, I need to give you some background. Because to understand why this case matters so much, you need to understand a law called the PLCAA. I know that sounds like alphabet soup, so let me break it down in the simplest way possible. PLCAA stands for the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act. It was signed into federal law back in 2005. Here's what it does in plain English. It protects gun manufacturers and gun dealers from being sued when someone else misuses a firearm to commit a crime. Let me say that again because it is important. If someone buys a legally made gun, takes it somewhere illegal, and uses it to hurt people, the gun manufacturer cannot be sued for that. The person who pulled the trigger is responsible. The company that legally manufactured the product is not. Now think about why that law needed to exist in the first place. Imagine you made hammers for a living. One day, someone buys your hammer at a hardware store, walks down the street, and uses it to commit a crime. Should you, the hammer maker, be sued for that? Of course not. You made a legal product. You sold it through legal channels. What someone else does with it after that is not your fault. That is the exact logic behind the PLCAA. Gun manufacturers make legal products. They sell them through federally licensed dealers. They follow every rule in the book. They cannot control what every buyer does with that firearm after it leaves the factory. So Congress passed the PLCAA to protect them from lawsuits that would try to hold them responsible for other people's criminal choices. But here's the crazy part. For years, anti-gun groups and certain state governments had been trying to find creative ways around the PLCAA. They were looking for legal loopholes, ways to get lawsuits into court that the PLCAA was specifically designed to block. And the government of Mexico thought they had found one. If you are finding this helpful right now, I want you to know that my next video covers something even more important for you personally. I am breaking down the exact legal words you need to know when any law enforcement officer asks about your firearm. The wrong answer in that moment can cost you everything. Subscribe right now so you're notified the second that video goes live. Now let me tell you about Mexico's lawsuit because it is one of the boldest legal strategies ever attempted against American gun manufacturers. And when I tell you the dollar amount they were seeking, your jaw is going to drop. The Mexican government did not just file a small complaint. They came in swinging for $10 billion. $10 billion. They sued 7 of the biggest American gun manufacturers: Smith Wesson, Barrett Firearms, Beretta, Colt, Glock, Ruger, and Century Arms. Their argument was essentially this: these companies know their guns end up in the hands of Mexican drug cartels. They know certain dealers near the border are selling guns to straw purchasers, meaning people who buy guns legally but actually buy them for someone else who cannot legally buy them. And according to Mexico, the gun manufacturers helped make that happen by designing products for criminal markets, by not training dealers better, and by turning a blind eye to suspicious sales patterns. Now that sounds like a dramatic claim, but the lower courts actually let the lawsuit move forward. A federal appeals court said Mexico's argument was strong enough to survive early dismissal. That meant the gun companies were heading toward a full legal battle. Discovery, depositions, millions in legal fees. For a $10 billion lawsuit filed by a foreign government. The gun industry was genuinely nervous about this. The Supreme Court took the case, and on June 5th, 2025, Justice Elena Kagan, not exactly someone known as a champion of gun rights, wrote the majority opinion, and she wrote it for all 9 justices. The opinion said that Mexico's lawsuit did not meet the legal threshold required to get around the PLCAA's protection. Mexico could not plausibly show that these gun manufacturers actually aided and abetted illegal gun sales to cartels the way federal law defines aiding and abetting. The manufacturers were not knowingly helping criminals. They were making legal products and selling them through legal channels. The PLCAA applies. Case dismissed, 9-0. The gun rights community celebrated. The gun industry breathed a massive sigh of relief, and anti-gun groups were furious. And here is why this matters far beyond just one case involving Mexico. Now, quick legal note right here. Everything I am sharing in this video is for educational purposes only. It is not legal advice, and I am not your attorney. Gun laws vary by state, they change frequently, and your specific situation matters. Before making any decisions about firearms, purchases, carry, or self-defense, always speak with a qualified firearms attorney in your state. Now, let me tell you the part that nobody in the mainstream media is covering, and this is the part that puts all 50 states on notice. Because this ruling is not just about Mexico, it is about a nationwide strategy that several states had been quietly running to destroy the American gun industry through lawsuits. Here is what was happening behind the scenes. After years of failing to ban guns through legislation, certain states started passing their own laws designed to get around the federal PLCAA protection. California passed a law called AB 1594. New York passed a similar law. New Jersey and a few others followed. These laws were designed to create state-level exceptions that would allow lawsuits against gun manufacturers even when federal law was supposed to block them. The whole idea was to drown the gun industry in legal fees, make them spend so much money defending lawsuits in 20 different states that they eventually go bankrupt or stop making guns altogether. This was called the litigation strategy, and it was described openly by gun control advocates as a way to accomplish through courts what they could not accomplish through legislatures. In other words, if you cannot get a law passed banning certain guns, you bankrupt the companies making those guns instead. No manufacturers, no guns, no Second Amendment. That was the play. The Supreme Court's 9-0 ruling in Smith Wesson versus Mexico just blew a giant hole in that strategy. When every single justice on the court, including the most liberal members, agrees that you cannot use creative lawsuit theories to get around the PLCAA, it sends a very clear signal. These state-level lawsuit laws are legally shaky. These state laws that try to create new theories of gun manufacturer liability are going to face serious constitutional headwinds. Gun rights attorneys are already filing challenges to the California and New York laws using the logic from this ruling. But wait, there is something even more important that you need to understand about what this means for you as a gun owner in your daily life. Here's what most people get completely wrong about this ruling. They hear 9-0 Supreme Court decision, and they think it is just about fancy legal stuff that does not affect them. Wrong. It affects you directly. Here's how. First, if gun manufacturers could be successfully sued into bankruptcy, your favorite brands disappear. The companies that make the firearms you trust for home defense, the guns you carry every day, the guns you use for sport and hunting, they go away. Not because of a law, because of lawyer fees and jury awards. The PLCAA and this ruling defending it is what keeps those companies alive and making products you depend on. Second, without PLCAA protection, the price of every firearm in America goes up dramatically. How? Because every gun company would have to buy massive liability insurance to cover potential lawsuits. That cost gets passed directly to you, the buyer. We are talking potentially hundreds of dollars added to the price of a standard handgun. A ruling going the other way could have made gun ownership a rich person's privilege. Third, this ruling signals to anti-gun states that their backdoor litigation strategy has a ceiling. The highest court in the land, unanimously, said you cannot use lawsuit theories to regulate the gun industry into oblivion. That matters in your state right now, even if your state has not passed one of these laws yet, because now every politician who is thinking about it knows the Supreme Court is watching. Here's a stat that blew my mind when I found it. As of this recording, approximately 73% of people watching this video right now are not subscribed to this channel. That means nearly 3/4 of you are watching legal analysis that could genuinely protect your rights, and you have not clicked one button to make sure you see the next video. Do not be in that group. Join tens of thousands of gun owners who rely on this channel for honest, accurate legal updates. Hit subscribe right now. Let me also tell you about the bigger pattern here. Because this 9-0 ruling did not happen in a vacuum. Think about what has happened at the Supreme Court over just the last few years in gun law. In 2022, the 6-3 Bruin ruling confirmed your right to carry a firearm in public for self-defense and destroyed the May issue permit system in states like New York and California. In 2024, the 8-1 Rahimi decision upheld the federal law keeping guns away from people under domestic violence restraining orders, but it also reinforced the Bruin historical test as the standard for judging all gun laws. And now, in June 2025, the 9-0 Smith Wesson ruling protects the entire gun industry from being wiped out through foreign and domestic lawsuits. 3 major rulings, 3 wins for lawful gun owners, and a very clear direction from the court on where gun law is heading. Now, this information about state lawsuit strategies could change very quickly. Gun control groups are already regrouping and looking for new legal theories. Some of these state laws will face their own court challenges over the next 12 to 18 months. The legal battlefield is moving fast. Subscribe to this channel right now because the next video is going to cover exactly what gun owners in California, New York, and New Jersey need to know specifically about these state laws and how the Smith and Wesson ruling affects their situation. You do not want to miss that. Hit subscribe before you forget. Here is your key takeaway from everything we covered today. The Supreme Court voted 9-0, every single justice, to protect American gun manufacturers from a $10 billion foreign lawsuit. Every single justice agreed that PLCAA means what it says. You cannot use creative legal theories to hold gun makers responsible for criminals' actions. That ruling sends a direct message to every state in America that has been trying to use the courts as a backdoor gun ban. The message is, we see what you are doing, and it has a legal limit. For you, as a gun owner, this means the industry that makes the products you depend on for protection is safer today than it was before June 5th, 2025. It means the prices of your firearms are not going to be driven up by runaway lawsuit liability overnight. And it means the Second Amendment ecosystem, the companies, the dealers, the industry as a whole, just got a unanimous shield from the highest court in the land. I spent serious time researching this case, the PLCAA, and what every single state is doing right now in response. I do this so you never walk into a gun shop, a courthouse, or a traffic stop without understanding your rights. If this video helped you, the best thing you can do is subscribe to support this channel. Leave a comment below telling me which state you're in, and share this video with one gun owner you know. One share could keep a friend informed and out of serious legal trouble. This video is entirely for educational purposes. Nothing here constitutes legal advice. All gun laws vary by jurisdiction and change frequently. Always consult a licensed attorney in your state before making any decisions related to firearms purchases, carry, or self-defense. Stay informed, stay legal, and I will see you in the next one.